What will tomorrow look like? Our world is at its limits, and yet we all want more. And why not? Why shouldn't the future be better than today? But where will it come from? Simple. Our tiny planet sits in a vast sea of resources, including millions of asteroids, bathed in the sun's free energy 24 hours a day. The same rocks that could fall from our skies also contain everything we could ever need, both out there and down here. It's time someone seized the opportunity. Deep Space Industries. Deep Space is a new kind of company with a new kind of plan. We don't build rockets. We don't do astronomy. We are explorers and harvesters, makers and suppliers. As they say, timing is everything. And for space, right now is the time. In fact, some of the planet's most successful people are placing their bets on this new frontier. Meanwhile, NASA and others are planning new missions to the Moon and Mars, with new space facilities in free space joining the billions of dollars worth of communication satellites already in orbit. And as they reach beyond Earth's orbit, Deep Space Industries will be there with the fuel, air, and materials they will need to succeed and grow. DSI has assembled an international team of well-known experts and young innovators who are building on our space legacy and creating new technologies and approaches to open the frontier. We will develop and prove ourselves in 3 areas: exploring and prospecting for asteroids, harvesting and returning asteroid materials, and processing those materials for use in space and on Earth. Our early systems will be small and largely off-the-shelf components re-engineered for deep space. We will hitch rides on much larger missions with multiple ways to get into space, where our job really begins. With mission costs so low, we'll be able to attract commercial sponsors and build fleets of vehicles to assure our success. Early markets will be satellites in need of fuel, government outposts and commercial facilities, and missions between the Earth and the Moon. As we gain expertise and develop our systems, we will grow them as the frontier grows, so that when the time comes, DSI will be ready. We will be the gas station, the oasis for air and water, and the building supply center for the frontier. This is a long game, perhaps the longest ever. While we earn our way, the long goal is to create a better future for all of us through space resources. When the first asteroid is mined, deep space will be there. When the first space power plants come online, deep space will be there. When the first space colonies are built, deep space will be there. We can have it all. We can have an amazing future. The resources of space will lead to a new renaissance, both in space and back here on our precious Mother Earth. We are deep space. The frontier is coming, and our time is now.
Fireflies in space? Curiosity could kill the cat. Words shaping our world and saving face on today's Daily Orbit. Hello and welcome to the Daily Orbit. I'm Emerald Robinson. Fireflies in space mining for metals? These fireflies you can't put in a jar. Deep Space Industries announced this week that it plans to send a fleet of asteroid prospecting spacecraft out into the solar system. Talk about heading west, way west. These Firefly spacecraft use low-cost components and get discounted space travel by carpooling, tagging along on the launch of larger spacecraft. The first launch is planned for 2015 and will last 2 to 6 months. Then in 2016, the company plans to launch larger dragonflies that will collect samples from asteroids to bring back to Earth. And you can participate too. The company will provide live feeds from mission control, online courses in asteroid mining, and other really cool stuff. So let's go prospecting.
NASA and others are
Space, the final frontier. Futuristic visions of human colonies in space took a step closer to reality at this recent conference in Santa Monica, organized by private company Deep Space Industries. Let's take a look at their introductory video.
We will be the gas station, the oasis for air and water, and the building supplies center for the frontier. This is a long game, perhaps the longest ever. While we'll earn our way, the long goal is to create a better future for all of us through space resources. When the first asteroid is mined, deep space will be there. When the first space power plants come online, deep space will be there. When the first space colonies are built, deep space will be there.
Although long-term plans may be for human colonies in space, the short-term goal is a space mining company. The plan is to tap nearby asteroids for hydrogen, oxygen, iron, and nickel. Company chairman Rick Tomlinson talked about a new space economy.
One of the things we're going to be doing is creating an economy in space. We're going to be creating wealth in space. We're going to be mining resources that we believe in the long run can help life on Earth. But at first, what we're going to be about is using those resources to expand and enhance what we're able to do in space.
The inaugural mission is targeted for 2015, when Deep Space Industries hope to send a small spacecraft called Firefly on a 6-month expedition to survey an as-yet unidentified asteroid. The cost of the Firefly mission would be about $20 million, half of which is expected to come from government and research institute contracts, and half from corporate advertising, sponsorships, and other marketing ventures.
Ever wondered what's in an asteroid? Well, you might be in luck. A United States-based company just launched a mission to find an answer. Deep Space Industries plans to mine asteroids, you heard that right, which are believed to hold a large amount of precious metals. They'll do it using 2 spacecrafts. Firefly, a smaller spacecraft that will initially examine asteroids, and Dragonfly, a larger craft that can bring back asteroid samples. DSI plans to use the Firefly to examine uncharted territory and pave the way for the Dragonfly, which will eventually deliver samples back to Earth. Chairman Rick Tomlinson is optimistic about the new plan detailed during Tuesday's press conference. We can make amazing machines smaller, cheaper, and faster than ever before. Imagine a production line of Fireflies cocked and loaded and ready to fly out to examine any object that gets near the Earth. So what are the financial implications of this space startup? NBC News has a look at some of the possibilities. Theoretically, mining the right kind of asteroid could produce precious metals worth sending back to Earth, such as platinum, gold, and rare earth minerals. Under the right conditions, such resources could be worth trillions of dollars a year, but it would cost billions of dollars to identify and exploit those resources. But as The Verge reports, DSI has a lot of competition. DSI is roughly on par with Planetary Resources, which announced its own plans in April 2012. Neither company has a proven record like SpaceX, but nor are their goals as fanciful as the Golden Spike proposal to profitably reach the moon by 2020. It is still unclear how the asteroid rocks will be harvested, but Deep Space Industries is set to launch its Firefly ships in 2015. For Newsy, I'm Logan Tittle. Multiple sources, the real story.
Walking on the moon remains a potent ambition, but Enrico Dini aims to use a 3D printer to build moon bases for the European Space Agency in partnership with architects Foster and Partners. And he's created D-Shape, the largest 3D printer in the world. It makes a sort of instant sandstone that Dini says is more durable than concrete and doesn't require steel reinforcements.
The principle of working of the 3D printer is extremely simple. It's a machine that releases layers of sand, very thin layers, 5 millimeter thick, and spray a binder that is a sort of salty water, cementing the sand only in the shapes of a section of the object.
So the idea is to build a full lunar base designed by Foster and Partners, protected by a honeycomb wall constructed using Enrico Dino's technology. The idea is to use lunar sand as a building material so as not to transport materials to the moon.
You would have solid, hard shell cylindrical elements that you bring in, and out of that you get an inflatable, right? You inflate that up. And what we do on top of that inflatable, which is kind of our support structure, we have small robots, robotic elements like here, that we print all around that inflatable, right? And that would give you your shell, your structure that protects you from, first of all, solar radiation, gamma radiation, and also from meteorite impacts.
And if it works on the moon, why not on Mars?
A human base on the moon sounds like an incredibly complex endeavor. Remarkably, technology may make it possible for complete lunar-based structures to be built using a three-dimensional form of printing. Recently, the London-based architectural firm Foster and Partners teamed up with the European Space Agency to explore the usage of such technology for lunar bases. A Foster and Partners representative describes the process, stating, "The base is first unfolded from a tubular module that can be transported by space rocket. An inflatable dome then extends from one end of the cylinder to provide a support structure for construction. Layers of regolith are then built up over the dome by a robot-operated 3D printer to create a protective shell. The architectural company's printer currently can build at roughly 2 meters per hour, but in the future it should be able to get to 3.5 meters in 60 minutes, which will allow an entire building to be completed in 1 week. The firm is studying the use of lunar soil, or regolith, as building material, and is using sustainable and local materials to simulate lunar soil, citing environmental benefits.